This podcast includes explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. So, we finally have a sponsor. And this is none other than Erstis. That's right, the Erstis podcast sponsored by Erstis. Who would have thought it? This means if you want to see what our day job looks like, then head to erstis-podcast.com/Erstis. That's ERSTIES. Check out the video and follow the link and you'll receive 50% off your first month. Please note that the content is 18+. One last time, erstis-podcast.com/Erstis. Click the link, 50% off your first month. And you must be over 18. Now, back to the pod. The Erstis podcast. So we had quite an amazing night talking about sex parties, didn't we?
Yes, our very favorite topic.
We're like experts. Not really.
Well, at least we have been together to one and we had an amazing time and we had a lot to say from that occasion. So
yeah, it was good to share our wisdom with the Berlin audience that actually lots of them hadn't been to sex parties, had they?
No, it was quite a newbie audience, I'd say. There was a bunch of Germans, which is funny because it's the kind of audiences that do not engage when you're on stage making a fool out of yourself.
Right. And it was our first live episode, so we were obviously trying to be really funny and yeah, we
were looking wonderful and fabulous.
Yeah. The shoes, ow.
Yeah, we splashed out on some insane outfits, shiny purple kind of cyber type things with sparkling silver shoes, matching shoes.
Yeah, like futuristic slutty mermaids from the 90s.
Oh, that was amazing.
Nailed it.
I was like getting that. It was good. It was our first show, so we wanted to look the part.
But when we walked, we looked a little bit funny.
Yeah, we struggled to get on the stage. We also had a guest on the show, Chris Phillips from Pornceptual.
Our first ever sex party zusammen together.
So enjoy, and if you want to see the amazing pictures that we took of ourselves looking fabulous, go follow us on Twitter at Erstis Podcast. So, everyone, welcome to the Erstis Podcast. The Erstis Podcast is us. I'm Paulita Papel, and sitting here with me are the beautiful and lovely ladies, Pandora.
Hello.
Lina Bembe.
Hola.
And Olivia Rose.
Hi, everybody.
So, how is everyone feeling? Give me a big yeah. We're super excited. This is our very first time recording this podcast live, which is annoying because usually we tend to make a lot of mistakes and repeat ourselves, so that's going to be challenging. Are we ready, girls?
Not really.
So the Erstis Podcast is the official podcast for Erstis. Who's listened to us before? Come on, raise your hands. Yes.
No one.
We got some. Woo!
That's two.
Thank you for our friends to come. The Erstis Podcast is a podcast about sex, porn, feminism, and really anything that crosses our mind. We don't really prepare this too well. We just speak our voices, don't we?
Yeah, we talked about polyamory, censorship, camming,
Being a slut, what we do on the weekends, what we don't do on the weekends, and yeah.
Getting peed on.
Most kinks. You know, that kinds of things that girls want to talk about, don't we? So, for this very special podcast, we decided to talk about sex parties.
Sex parties.
Woo! Give me a big woo.
The energy is going crazy here tonight.
Yeah,
It's wild.
Yeah. We're great at warm-ups.
like we dress for
changed.
like choreographed dance videos, and I feel like everyone else is not on the same vibe.
Maybe because they haven't seen our shoes yet.
Well, let's show them our shoes.
Listeners at home cannot see the shoes.
Right. So everyone in the audience who's never been to a sex party before, come on. There you go. You're going to learn so much today, aren't you?
Oh,
That's exciting.
that is exciting.
You haven't been to a sex party. How long have you been living in Berlin? No, you. Yes, you.
Everyone's like, I didn't put my hand up. No, that was a spasm.
Oh, just for 4 months. Okay.
Okay, that's why. Then that explains everything.
That's a good excuse. That's a good excuse.
But you wanna go to a sex party?
Well, I'm not sure. Depends what you say tonight.
She's not gonna want to go after that.
She's putting pressure on us, guys. Let's do this good. Okay, for everyone that hasn't been to a sex party yet, we would like to get you first in the mood. So, chill, relax, put your shoulders down, close your eyes, take a deep breath.
Cross your legs.
All of you, close your eyes. Everyone here.
You're not closing your eyes, I'm seeing it. Yes, there you go, closing your eyes.
All
Good.
of us, yeah.
Go into a little bit of tension in between your thighs.
Now just relax and imagine the beautiful, beautiful sexiness of everyone around you. Feel the air, the hotness. Shh.
I smell
Pussy. Oh yes.
Oh yeah, das ist gut.
Oh yes.
Mega geil. Oh yeah.
So that's how a party feels like.
Woo! Now you know a little bit more about what sex parties are like.
But there's a lot of different sex parties, right? So when you think about sex parties, you might be thinking about, well, I don't know, what are you thinking about when you talk about sex parties? Come on. Naked. Naked is a good word. Give me more words. What else comes to mind? Fetish. Good one. Ooh, we have a clear inclination in the audience.
Baby wipes.
Baby wipes.
very important.
Practical.
We're absolutely going to be talking about that. So sex parties come in all different sizes and kinds, right? You could have huge clubs that have humongous orgy-wise sex parties. You could have smaller private parties.
Private sex parties. Invite-only
sex parties.
You can have cuddle parties.
Oh, kind of. Does that qualify as a sex party, though?
I think so.
It's about
Have you
intimacy.
dry humped before? It can be really hot.
Have you felt something suddenly? We're cuddling.
Oh my god, Mum's coming!
You think we're just cuddling.
Then there's a lot of parties that are, explicitly targeting one kind of audience, say a sexual orientation, or as we just had from the audience, a fetish, or a kinky play parties. Homosexual, queer, heterosexual, more the swinger kind of vibe, where it's like where you go with your partner and you're kind of like sharing your partner, which is also fun. Sharing around. It's all about sharing.
It's like food, but with
better
instead.
Same, but different. So from all of these parties, I think Berlin is one of the cities that offers the biggest, what's the word I'm searching for?
Scene.
I think it was potential. I think it was Carly Slat-Ever who defined Berlin as the world capital of sex positivity. So you're in the right place.
So there's just enough space for really big clubs in Berlin, so you can have lots of like caves and little dens and other rooms, and there's enough space for sex parties.
Like this room right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Take your clothes off.
Anything could be turned into a sex party anytime. But yeah, I think the one specificity of Berlin is that you can have like sex parties or just huge parties that offer sex spaces, which is also a very interesting, way of adventuring maybe, going to the dark room for the very first time, but you can just like take a little look, and then if it freaks you out or if you're not ready, you can just run out of there. I remember the very first time that I walked into the Berghain dark room, actually. Yeah. I was like 17 years old. It was the very first time that I went to Berghain. Who has not been in Berghain over here, guys? Oh my God.
4 months though. 4 months is too soon.
I'm so jealous. There's so much you're going to discover. So I remember being 17. I mean, like, I'm going to go to that dark room. And I chose the Berghain dark. Wait, so before, like, this is like 10 years ago, there was Berghain floor, which was 99.999999999% of gay men naked.
Which you aspire to.
And there was a dark room that you had to, like, before entering the dark room, you had to actually, like, work your way around all the naked men because they would, like, build a wall to make sure no vaginas was getting in there. But I sneaked in there, little as I am.
Really cock blocking you there with their cocks.
I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And then I walk in. So I walk in there, right? And I'm like, I'm doing this. It's so exciting. I walk in there and I'm like, it's dark. It's very dark. It's like dark as, dark. Like
For a dark room? That's pretty crazy.
Well, but it's like really dark. Like I couldn't see my own hand in front of me, right? So I'm like, this is fun. I'm very adventurous and very crazy. And
is this before the flashlight phone?
This is totally before. Yeah. This is the times where I didn't have a smartphone. Nobody had a smartphone.
You can't have a smartphone in a dark room anyway, no?
No, because you're not allowed to bring smartphones.
Yes, why do you know so much about this?
We're getting off topic. Let me tell my story. So I walk into the dark room and there's a lot of like heat and like I feel the pulsating bodies around me throbbing. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna, touch my way around this. And suddenly I get like smashed into the wall. This is real. And I freak out and run out of the dark room. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen.
Do they have like an emergency exit slide in the dark room?
There was nothing there to orientate yourself. I think you have to be like, I don't know, have a dark room gene to like know how to work around there. Cause I never figure it out. No, I don't know.
The one and only time I went to a dark room in Berghain, everyone's flashing like phone lights, giving like green light, red light, let's do this. And when I went in there, it was like 2 steps in, boom, dick, boom, dick, boom, dick. Oh my God, a woman, finally. Are you okay? I don't know. Let's get out of here. That was my experience.
No, but that's completely true. If you go to the dark room as like a woman, and if the space is like kind of like not like completely queer, and so like you can go there, and the next thing you get is dick buffet. Like seriously, like dick buffet,
Dick Benedict, scrambled dick, fertilized eggs. You can get it all there,
all of it, with her, without her, and. No, but seriously, I mean, like, for me, it wasn't like, I mean, I was like with this, I was in the club, and I was with this guy, we just met on the dance floor, and then we like started making out right away, and 10 minutes later, okay, let's go to the dark room. And then we go down, and then I sit, and then I get like, boom, like, dick buffet, like, here, there was like, okay, this is good. And then I just like navigated the whole thing. It was like, and then the guy was just next to me. And then at some point I forgot about him because like he was just like sitting right next to me. And then the dick was just here. I was like, what am I going to do like down there? It's like, here, come here. And
wait, the same guy that was next to you?
Yeah, the same guy. So I was just like getting myself stuffed. And at some point when we left, he was like, oh my God, there was this guy who sucked my dick for the first time. I was like, oh.
Will you marry me?
So we went all like together, and then we didn't do nothing together.
But that's still an experience, to go with someone to a sex party, and that would be maybe a topic to consider. Like, would you rather go alone to a sex party? Would you rather go together with your partner or with a friend to a sex party? What do you guys say?
Can we do all of the above? Like, does it have
what
to?
If you're not
what
sure if they're your partner or your friend or your what if you don't know?
Well, maybe it's the right space to question and to bring up these topics. We're like, wait, we're like, what, like, like, everyone's fucking here. What are we gonna do?
We're gonna have the talk at a sex party. Like, where is the relationship going?
Who are we?
Fucking in the background. What do you see us as a long-term commitment? Are we seeing each other? Like, I don't agree with you.
This is her approach, though.
Yeah.
No joke. This is what she does.
Will I ever see you again after this?
She's like, I don't know how to talk about sex outside of my comfort zone. So can we just like go to an orgy and then talk about our relationship?
It's so Berlin. That's so Berlin.
You're saying it in such a negative way. Like, I feel it's a totally legit strategy to open up the conversation.
By spreading your legs.
Olivia's just saying that because I kind of forced her to go lately to a sex party. This was like a very nice kind of private like house party. You know when you...
It was so exclusive. You're like, it's so nice private. You get this special email. It's kind of like a coded email, right?
Yeah.
And it's like only certain people are going to this sex party. So we went.
And
yes.
Woo! Short break
sorry,
for getting
everybody.
shots. Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
Sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
Wait, what? Are we being boring? Is that why we're getting shots?
No, we're like,
Please don't
loads
make
of
us
details
funnier.
I'm going to regret sharing.
Okay, but so let's get to the A's and O's of sex parties. Like, what would be the first reason to go to a sex party? Give it to me. 30 seconds. Go.
Horny.
Super horny.
What?
To bond as a group?
Aww.
Oh, that's so cute.
To watch other people and be like, oh, yeah, I haven't thought of that.
Inspiration, ladies and
Take
gentlemen.
Great idea.
Great ideas. Okay, how do we prepare for going to a sex party? Let's get to the practicalities of it.
Shit, shower, and shave. Like, really, honestly, shit, shower, and shave. You have to douche. You have to shit.
Well, you
have to
only have to
shave.
douche if you're going for anal, don't you?
You're going to a sex party. Things happen. Things are going to happen. You don't.
You're scaring people off that never went to a sex party
Bring
before.
baby oil. You'll be fine.
Well, you go to a sex party to try anal for the first time, maybe.
That feels rough to me.
That's intense.
That's getting me out of my comfort
I've heard
zone.
counts
Paula
of
has a
people
thing
like
about the
getting-
butt, okay, guys? Just like a little asterisk sign. She has a little thing about the butt, and so...
No, you're
this is
into it now, aren't you? Because for a while you were like, I can't do anal, and then you...
Then I
Figured
did
it
it.
out.
I figured it out.
Who else has figured out
Now
anal?
I douche.
Nobody.
Okay,
I
to
see some
Sean.
gay guys in here. Don't tell me this is fucking happening.
No one's raising their hands, but I see some like eyes just like blinking. Okay.
But if you've never been to a sex party before, right? So the first thing you want to check is like what kind of dress code is there. So if this is a very chill, private, kind of like house birthday, sex party kind of thing, then you're fine. Just wear your casual, weekend, kind of wear.
Like this.
But if you're going to a club or to another an institution, you might want to check what the dress code is because there might be different dress codes. So take as an example, take Kit Kat in Berlin, right? They have different kinds of parties. So you'll have some parties where the dress code is just sexy. So that basically means guys have to get their shirts off and women just have to get their shirts off. And,
Get their skirts off.
their skirts off.
But you know what party has really strict policy? House of Red Doors at Renata. That's really like a fancy dress sex party. Also, even if you're not interested in sex, go there just for the fancy dress because it's so fun. The last time we went, people were like stood outside and they'd made it was a sea life theme and they'd made like these paper mache like headdresses and they were all dressing each other and it was so adorable. But the doorman actually won't let you in if you haven't made an effort. He had like no on the back of his t-shirt when we were there and he would just like turn around.
Couldn't be bothered.
Imagine having
he
sex
couldn't
with a
be bothered
seahorse.
Yeah, exactly.
Paper mache seahorse.
I'm sure that happened at some point that night. If you were looking in the right room.
So first thing you want to do is check your dress code and figure out and be creative. But you still should be feeling comfortable, right? So just, go for whatever the dress code is, but still in your comfort zone of like, you should be feeling sexy, be feeling good about yourself. And yeah, be ready to meet some amazing people.
But
Bring condoms.
Do you have to have expensive latex fancy stuff? Or?
No, like here in Berlin, I think it's very much DIY in that sense. So as long as you kind of like follow the kind of like a dress code thing that is expected, then, you can do it yourself. It's not about glamour. It's not about expensive fashion. It's just about like meeting the standards, and of course, like they do that because they know they're going to attract like people that are like similarly minded. So that's actually the point. It's not about like being like a fashion show, whatever. It's just because they know that you're, for example, into latex or they're into leather, and so it's like people who have like similar vibes, and that's what's make people fuck.
Okay, so you figure out your dress code. You went to the sex party. You got through the door. And then you're there.
One more though. I also
one more.
noticed like the last time we went to Kit Kat, you noticed the people that did not plan on going to a sex party that night, and they're always just in their underwear, and you're like, this was an impromptu decision that you made.
Which is fine.
Which is fine also.
It works.
I've been to
Plenty
those
of people
parties
do that.
when I used to work at a restaurant. I was like, okay, I don't have time, like after like the night shift, whatever. Just go to the club, okay. My panties have holes.
I have boobs.
My bra, like, fuck it. And then just dress down, and that's it.
Also, there's some parties that give you like a discount on the entrance if you're naked. So if you're, on a tight budget, you might consider that one.
Acceptable.
So we got in the party. Ladies, what is the stuff that we have to think about once we're in there?
Do you have your own condoms? Do you have your own globes? Do you have your own lube?
So safe for sex.
Yes.
Hashtag safe for sex. Be safe. Because you're just meeting people, random people, and you're probably, even if you would ask about their tests, their last testing results, that's not something very reliable.
If you get dick buffet, you have no time. You have no time to ask for like 10 tests.
Wait, what was your last
wait. No. Condom all the way.
So be safe, condom all the way. That's a major thing.
That was a really good thing about the like private sex party that we went to, because it was fancy, so it was all laid out on the side for us.
It was a condom buffet. Yeah, that was good. And whatever else you need, right? So think about your own needs. What is it but it's going to make you feel safe and comfortable, and bring that with you. And it's good if you bring like maybe a little bag where you can put all that stuff, because probably you don't want to walk around with your backpack in the sex party.
Sexy time bomb
in a dark room.
Unless you have a lot of sex toys, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, here comes the expert with her bag.
Wireless
Luggage.
wand.
I suggested we go to a cuddle party. I am not the expert here. Come on, guys. Get
Actually,
your shit together.
like, when we last went to one, Lena showed up with like this massive rucksack, and it got like
Sex toys,
the
vibrators,
door guy
cock
checked
rings,
it, and he was
olive
pulling out this
oil.
big bottle of like baby oil. It was like, this was not her first sex party.
Dildo, strap on, what the fuck, whatever.
I don't know.
It vibrates, so it's in.
Much like going through airport security.
Next thing you should think about is consent. So consent is the biggest thing each one and everyone should think about when going to a sex party. Being in a sex party does not mean that you want to have sex. You might be there for completely other reasons, like your partner wants to have sex and you're just like accompanying them, or you just want to check it out.
You're just a bit of a perv.
You're a voyeur, you want to watch, which is fine. But either way, whatever you're in there for, you need to make sure that whoever you get involved with, and this includes looking at other people, that you're getting their consent. So everyone should feel free to express consent, and you have to provide that space for other people to express consent, which might be hard when you're having a dick buffet in your face.
I think it's also hard because it's like, when you want to watch people, I find that quite awkward because I want to get that. I'm like, is it okay to watch this? I assume because you're at a party and you're doing this, you're exhibitionist and this is what you want. But at the same time, and it's like, excuse me, sorry, is this okay? Like, how do you navigate? I find that a bit difficult.
Right. Well, I was talking to like a friend who works as Berghain Security, and he was telling me like they had a Christmas staff meeting. And their staff meetings were like, when do we intervene into someone having sex, blah, blah, blah. And this, one security guy piped up and he was like, I tried to intervene in this girl, she was getting 5 dicks at her, and then I got kicked in the chest. So I don't know what to do. And I was like, oh, I preach it. I totally understand you. And yeah, like, where do you understand? But then there's parties like at Pornceptual, which I was really impressed with. They had a booth where you could, tell them if you have been harassed. And actually, when we went to Pornceptual together as a group, there was booths, and it was being used as well, and it was very positive, and they were taking down notes and telling us, if you ever see the guy again, we're going to ban them for life. So
Yeah.
if you go to these big parties, they really, and all the small intimate ones, they do take care of you. So you should never be afraid to have sex
Yeah,
parties.
there's like a key word for that. It's called awareness.
Yeah.
So all like these parties, like big or small, they have like this sort of awareness team. And sometimes they have like this sort of like vests, like some construction work vests, whatever. And it's not the kink. It's just like they're like walking around so you can identify if there's something that you don't feel like it's going right. You just like talk to them and they will like go and intervene for you if you need it.
It's I feel like generally sex parties are actually safer than most other parties. Like I grew up in England, so actually going to like a nightclub in England is a lot more risky than going to a sex party in Berlin. You just get groped constantly in England. But yeah, we had like one instance of it a little bit at Pornceptual, right? There was this one guy, you just reminded me about that guy, but otherwise
It was actually a pretty amazing atmosphere.
But at least with that guy, there's someone you can go to, and then it's clear, you know. Normally there's like 10 of those guys in England.
But that's it,
no
because
awareness
you can never like filter and see what's like the intentions of everyone. But then for as long as it is like, as there's like proper follow up, and then they like talk to the person or kick the person out and so on, then it's like, yeah.
Actually, that was the very first sex party, the very first and only sex party that the four of us went together, Pornceptual, wasn't it, girls?
Yeah.
We
And that was
bonded.
Pornceptual is one of the most famous sex parties going on in Berlin. Who has not yet been to Pornceptual? Come on. Oh my God, you're missing out, but it's not so many. Good. And actually, that was a very special experience for us because we really got to bond, right? And we had an amazing time, very late tonight. And as a very, very special treat for you tonight, we have a special guest that we would like to invite on stage, the very founder of the Pornceptual party, Chris Phillips. Give me a big applause for him. Woo! Bravo!
Hey, Chris.
Yes, queen.
Come on down.
Hi, Chris.
Be careful with your heels.
Careful.
It's tricky. Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
How are you feeling? How did you like how did it go? Were we okay?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
that was
so-
good feedback about the party.
We can talk about it later. We can talk about it later.
So you founded Pornceptual. You want to tell us what is Pornceptual?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Girl, we're still recording.
I think that I've been asked this question so many times, and I always ask I'll answer something different. But Pornceptual first is an art project. I think we started like with a website and with an online gallery, but then we expanded to different things. Now we have like the parties, the magazine, also a fetish shop. So we're doing like lots of different things.
Cool, that's super exciting. And like, what was the first motivation? Like, where did the ideas came from? Like, what was the first, like, the moment where you were like, okay, I'm going to do this? Like, what's the motivation behind it?
I think it started with something very personal. Like I come from a super conservative background, and for me it was a way to express my own sexuality.
Bravo. Bravo. Give me a big applause for that, man. Woo!
And to watch other people express their sexualities.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And I think, you've come like a long way, right? Like, how many years have you been running Pornceptual?
In Berlin for 5 years. So we started 2012, and now the parties got quite big. I think our general event is called Porn by Pornceptual, and we have once every 2 months at Altomuse, and we have an average 2,500 guests.
Wow. Give me a big wow right there. That's great.
So is that people coming from all over, or mainly Berlin locals that come again and again? Pun not intended.
I mean, both. Of course, the core of the party is the Berlin scene, but we have people coming from everywhere, like from London, Amsterdam, Paris. So it's a very mixed crowd for sure.
And who are the people? Like, how do you define the people who go to Pornceptual? Is like a very like distinct kind of people, or it's like more like mixed, like?
I mean, I would say it's very mixed, of course. I mean, it's a queer party, and we have a lot of gay men coming, which is great. But we are always very open for women, like straight women, like also straight men. So it's very mixed. It's hard to define. And I think that's exactly the point of the event.
Yeah, I have that impression because it seems to me that whenever I go to Pornceptual, there's like this bunch of people who like kind of like go there for the first time and they kind of like get into it and then experience what it is to be like in like a kind of like sex positive environment, a sex positive party. And I think it's actually like really cool about your parties that you kind of like offer at least like this very like first opportunity to experience like this kind of like environment.
Yeah, for sure. I think like once I read this article that's saying the Pornceptual was a sex party for beginners, and at first I was
that's true.
But then I actually think this is actually really nice because
It's a compliment.
Like, yes. It is, because it means like we try to be open and often, and people who wouldn't go usually to sex parties, for some reason they feel welcome to go to Pornceptual, so that's great. Like,
I guess it's because you're making a whole... Yeah, give me a big applause for that, but yes! But I think because the concept, as you were saying, works so well, because it's not just about the sex. So you have performances, you have videos, right? Like you have a lot of stuff going on. How do you curate these things? Like, do you have a group of people, performers that you often work with, or for each party you're finding new people, or like how does this artistic process work?
Yeah, I feel like what's different between Pornceptual and the sex parties, of course, is also an art event. So as I said, like we have a cinema, we also have a lot of performers, and we have a lot of visual art as well. So we want people like they can come even if they don't want to have sex, like they can also have all the kind of experience. And then of course, like we are collective, so we're working with different performance artists. Also, like have some people help me curate the event. So yeah, like in the end, it's a big team for sure.
Nice. And so, can you tell us a little bit like how it has evolved, like from the very first Pornceptual party? Was the very first Pornceptual party in Berlin?
No, actually the first one was in Brazil. Yeah, like I started the project in Brazil and I had like a spontaneous party there. And from the beginning it was like, I don't know, of course some people were really shocked and feel offended by the idea. But the feedback... Yeah, in Brazil. I think Brazil is more conservative than here. But I think the feedback has been quite positive from the beginning, so I also like it. Yeah.
You have parties in like different places besides Berlin and Brazil, and how do they compare? And where are those parties?
I think the freedom we have in Berlin is very special and something that we should be grateful for sure. Like it's hard to compare the situation we have here with anywhere in the world. But at the same time, I think like nowadays you have a strong techno scene in a lot of different cities. So whenever you can go to a city, collaborate with the existing techno scene, I think it's a good combination for sure. So we've been to New York, São Paulo, like Stockholm, like other cities in Brazil. Like
can you compare the crowd for us?
What
Tell us what the crowd is like. What do I have to do to be better than them?
You have to give too many details.
I don't know, it's never like Berlin. I think Berlin is special for sure.
Yeah.
I think the people in Berlin, they really take partying seriously. They really go for it.
It's a full-time job.
You've been going to New York?
I think New York is a great city for sure. But New York is it's something more hidden, more protected.
More what?
What?
New York is more what?
I think it's something more hidden, more, you need to protect this scene.
Liliana's like, not
Yes,
when
more
I'm
underground, more underground.
Is that not your experience, Liliana? What would you say about New York sex parties?
When I'm interviewing you, you're next.
I mean, I don't know, it's my experience in New York.
She agrees. Thumbs up. So how, we were talking before about like the awareness team, that there is your parties where people can reach out if there's like whatever happens that is not okay, then they can like seek for help from your team. What is, like generally, what do you do to make the parties as good as it is? Like what is your door policy, for example? Or like is there anything that you do like in your the way you present yourself, the way you have, the door policy in order to keep the parties like as great as they are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the first thing is definitely, I think we had to make the rules quite clear. So we post the rules in the Facebook event and we try to communicate to the guests, like, how they should behave in a way. Yeah. But then, of course, like, we have a very strict door policy as well. Like, we try to stay as open as possible to everyone, but at the same time, like, we want people the right attitude. And of course, like, once people inside, like, if they misbehave, then we also need some support from our team. So we have our awareness team, we have a security team, so we try to make this space as safe as possible. Like it's a challenge, but it's what we want to do for sure.
How often, I mean, I don't want to get too negative here, but just as a curiosity, like how often does the awareness team have to intervene? Like do you get a lot of moments where people are like, okay, this happened, this person was not being cool or whatever, or is it like not so often?
I think it depends on the event. Of course, it happens and it shouldn't happen at all. But I don't know, it's hard to say. I think like the goal is to have the awareness team more to make them available than actually to have them doing something. So I think, I don't know, like so far we've been, I don't know, at least I think it has been okay.
What is the craziest thing you've seen at one of your parties? Give us the nasty detail.
Yes, tell us. You don't have to give us names.
Yeah.
Just faces. Phone numbers.
Facebook.
I don't know, I think, it's hard to say. It's so nice when you see, just people having fun experimenting with sexuality. So for me, it's hard to think about the moment. But I think maybe when we had a fisting performance and a lot of people, they never seen, maybe it was actually my first time that I saw fisting on stage. It was quite special.
Wait, was this a performance or was this
This was a performance.
Oh, okay.
What other kinds of performances have you had?
We have lots of different kinds, but the performances are conceptual. They're more like happenings than stage performance. So they can happen anywhere in any place of the party. Like we don't have a proper stage, and it's something that is more spontaneous.
And to backtrack, what was so special about the fisting performance for you?
Maybe the reaction from people, just to see people really, like, not judging, really appreciating, like, seeing something new for the first time, and just very intrigued by it.
No, I think it's very exciting. I remember, you and me were watching, like, not so long ago, what's it called? Hook? No, what's it? Hanging?
Like suspension.
Suspension, thank you. Me not doing my homework. A suspension performance, that means someone that will get some hooks in their skin, and they hang from the ceiling, which is really impressive. I think I was like that. I mean, I've seen it in film because I'm also a curator for the Porn Festival Berlin, so I've seen a lot of stuff in film. But I feel there's something special to see this kind of performance live, because you're so close to the people and it's and to the bodies, and you're really you can really look at the skin, and I think it's amazing. Like I think it's so good to offer this kind of platform and like to let people be so close to such a I would even say like a spiritual experience. Actually, I don't know how was it for you?
For me, it was too much. I didn't know how. I think this is the thing with sex parties. You have to be aware of what your boundaries are, because you walk into that situation and it can be quite overwhelming. You've got these performances, you've got these things that you can take part in. And I think you have to be really mindful of how you're feeling and whether you want to see that, whether you want to be part of it. With that thing, for me, the image was just like quite dark. I couldn't find another way into it, and I just thought, if I see that, I can't unsee it, and I don't know how I feel about it, so I didn't watch it, and I just watched Paulita, and it was kind of like watching her watch like a horror film. She was like smiling and excited but terrified, and like so many emotions passed her, and that was exciting. But
but isn't that a sex party? Is to watch the audience, to watch other people enjoying themselves turns me on. That makes me happy.
Yeah, that's called voyeurism. Not everyone's a voyeurist.
Yeah,
almost everyone.
I found my niche.
The curiosity is still there. Like, I'd like to talk to people that like that thing and find out what it is for them, what that experience is, because I'm obviously putting onto it how I would relate to it. So I have no idea what theirs is. And
I think one of the things that fascinates me about that specific experience of seeing such a performance that might be overwhelming, but also in general to be at a sex party, is that I feel like the rules that apply in the normal world, like in everyday life, don't apply anymore in that space. And that I feel is so freeing, because you're going into a space and it's like, okay, the moment you enter this threshold, like the moment you go into here, there's other rules. And I feel for me, I think especially if you're not, this is obviously my very personal opinion, but when you often feel not in the right place in public situations, or you feel you're, I don't know, too kinky or too queer or too whatever, too slutty, or then you go into this place where it's like, here's other rules. And then you see these things and I feel like, oh my God, I'm so vanilla and normal. Like, and that's amazing. You know?
Said that the last time we went to Kit Kat, you looked around and you were like, Olivia, imagine if the whole world was like this. Imagine if you just went into a club and people were dressed like this. Because everyone's just... It's not even like people are dressed to a theme of sex parties, right? It's just like they're expressing themselves how they want to. And it's a space for that, I think even more than it is for sex. It's just like, we can do what we want to do here. And the sex almost just facilitates that.
Yeah, I think it also like this kind of parties they help you to like expand your sexual imagery. I remember very well, I was like at this Pornceptual party, And I think that one of my hottest moments ever was like, I was like with this person who's like super like, she's super fun and everything. And we were in the toilet, and I was just like sitting there, and she just like came and threw like a glass of cold water on my face. I was just like, ah! And then there were like another two
She's making a really nice face for our listeners who are not watching her.
There were like another two girls in the corner where it's like, oh my god, that's hot. And then she left again. And she came back and just like threw me again, like a cold glass of water, and then finger banged me, and then was just in the toilet. And the other two girls were just like,
The natural next step.
yeah, that's hot. And
Wait, what were you expecting?
Everyone's knowing about our Pornceptual night now.
So yeah, I mean, so these things don't happen in a bedroom. Like, don't happen after a date of like having beer or coffee. It's like,
If someone threw a coffee at me, I'd be upset. I'd be very upset. I'd be like, oh my god, it's hot.
Chris, what is you have a special dress code rule, right? What can you explain it to us? How it is your politic?
I mean, we have a different theme every time, so of course we expect people to dress according to the theme. But then the dress code in general is just like fetish or half naked and naked. And then we have different prices according to how people dress. So the more naked you are, the cheaper guest entries.
See, right there you go.
Sex
Budget.
sells.
DIY.
Yeah, it's a good way to encourage people for sure.
Would you say the theme like has an influence on like how much like? Have you noticed like sometimes you have a hard theme and then people are like, I don't know what to do, I just go naked, or like do people put an effort into like going for the theme?
Yeah, of course. I think it depends on the theme. Like some themes are way easier to dress than others. I think, of course, when you go for something more conceptual, maybe people get a bit confused. We have, for example, like Born Dimension, which is something more abstract, so I think it was a bit harder to explain the vision that we had. Yeah. Whenever we have something like, like Paul gardening or ocean porn, it's very easy to connect to the dress code. So it depends, but I think there is always some people who make an effort. So it's great.
What is the best costume that you've ever seen? Do you have one favorite?
It's hard to say, because we've been doing this party for 5 years now. It's so many things that I think I can't pick one.
Okay. Do you have an outfit that you always wear for Pornceptual, or do you always change it?
I try to change. I think, since I'm asking people to follow the theme, I think I have to do it myself. So I try to do it.
So for you, you're like having a lot of organization stuff to deal with, and business and money and all that stuff. Like, can you still enjoy the parties, or are you just like just a job? You know what I mean?
I can enjoy the last hours for sure. Like the beginning is always stressful. I think it's just me like running around and making sure that everything is running, that everyone's happy. Yeah. But then like I love what I'm doing for sure. I think I wouldn't do it otherwise, and I also have a great time.
Is it a sustainable job? Like, do you live out of this? Is this your work?
Yeah, it is. I think it's my full-time job for sure.
Are you rich?
Not yet.
Are you single? Are you married?
You want to go on a date?
No, but the idea is also that we can finance all the parts of the project with the party, so like the website and all the things. So it's good. Like it's not only a party, but yeah, the project is growing for sure.
Isn't it cool when your job is to, make other people happier and offer such an amazing space for other people to, live their sexuality and everything?
Yeah, for sure. It makes me so happy when people come to me and they say that they really like enjoy themselves, and especially if you see people that they went for the first time totally dressed and very shy, and then you see them coming back and getting more naked every time, and just being more free every time. I think it's really beautiful. I really enjoy it for sure.
What are your plans like for the future with Pornceptual? Do you have any new projects or ideas that you would like to realize?
We're doing a festival now together with all the queer parties. So, like in terms of events, I think that's the next step. But then for Conceptual, we also want to start really focus on the art part of the project. So releasing another edition for the magazine, also producing movies, and so we're not only a party, we also stay true to the concept of being an art project.
Amazing.
Woo, give me a big applause for that. So I guess you're also all the time looking for like models, right? For your project. So anyone here is gonna apply? Oh, there we go. One, Liliana. Yes.
Yeah, look at her.
Now we would actually like to open the floor to your questions, guys, because we've been talking a lot here.
We need a break.
We need a break, yeah. No, we would
We're
love
done.
to hear if any one of you has some questions for us, for Chris, for ours. Yeah, we can give a microphone around. Come, don't be
Because
shy.
it's fun talking into this, if anyone just...
It's really fun. It's really fun to hold it in your hand. Anyone, what's your thought? Maybe just a comment, maybe just a thought, maybe just ask me on a date. I don't know. I don't know. Anything, you know?
I was also in Pornceptual with you girls last time.
That's true! Well, let me take a look at you. Oh,
Yeah.
He was the girl throwing the glass of water. You were that guy. And he finger banged you.
But no, it was a very nice party, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't kind of my first sex parties here in Berlin, actually. And, we went with some friends, and we had a really great time. And I just want to say, like, it's really amazing what you're doing and what you did. And as you said, like, I think it's very important I think it's a very good comment that you had, that this is for new people that want to try this and want to see how it is and introduce this new word to them, you know. And I think it's a really good first party to go to if you haven't been to one. And I would really suggest it. I had a great time.
Well, thank you so much. Give me a big applause. Woo!
I would second that. Actually, even if it's you don't just want to go to a sex party, you want to go to a party. For me, like, it just felt so comfortable. It's just everyone was having a party in their pants. It was really
Lack of pants.
literally in their pants. But it was just adorable. It was so sweet. I would choose to go to that as opposed to other parties, just because everyone was so vulnerable. It was so open.
Thank you. That's really good.
Also, the music is great.
Yeah. We sung over most of it, but we think it was good.
Yeah, we were wasted as shit, but but still.
Any other?
Yes, now we're popping it. Johnny, there, yes.
Have there ever been situations in terms of consent where you had to ban both parties because it was just almost not clear where the truth actually laid, so you had to just ban both people?
No, not yet. For me, so far has been clear, like the person has been, acting wrong.
Okay.
So we never had a situation.
The person always admitted to it, the one that got banned?
Well, yeah, I think it's clear most of the time.
Right,
yeah.
okay.
But I would love to hear about your fantasy.
My fantasy?
I'm feeling some fantasy vibes over there. What are we both doing?
You started it.
No, you started it. No, you said no first. No, I said no first. We have another question over there?
So you were talking about dark rooms in the beginning. I mean, like a long time ago. No.
He loved it, guys. We got a new fan right there.
And the thing is, do you have any tips, advice, addresses about so for dark rooms which are open to everyone? Because in Berlin, it's most of the dark rooms, you notice it by yourself, are for gay men. But I would like to know actually where I can find really, except for Pornceptual.
I was going to say perception.
Yeah. And so, except of Pornceptual, maybe like other addresses, because I guess a lot of people are interested. So, yeah.
Well, that's a really interesting question. Actually, this is let's go to history lesson over here. Back say 10 to 15 years ago, there used to be a lot of lesbian parties, for example, in Berlin that had dark rooms. So say, for example, what was it called? Like in SO 36, there was a party, right? That was, what was it, Jane, what was it called? Wait. You've heard about it, right? Yeah. So there was actually, I feel like there was a time where there was more sex positivity in different scenes, like definitely both in the lesbian scene, and yeah. So to answer your question straight, I'm not sure about dark rooms are open to everyone. I might open the question to the audience, but there is a lot of sex parties that have maybe a dark roomy feeling. So I would suggest, for example, Privat's Club, right? On Schlechter, I think has some queer parties, some different sexual orientations parties that are kind of nice, and there's, kind of the dark roomy feeling to it. And help me, girls.
I think there are many different parties. I think nowadays, like parties are also like many of them are like very like oriented. Like, okay, like this is like a party like for queer people, or this is like a party for this and that, and then those parties usually have a dark room. Like sometimes you just like go to like even like porn projections and stuff, and they also have like a dark room, which is just,
Wait,
like
really?
the storage room. Yeah, at Altes.
Oh, Altes Finanzam. That's a really good address.
Finanzam.
Yeah.
The Finanzam
it's in
has
like
also dark parties. What?
yeah, everywhere.
I'm very new to Berlin.
It's cool. There's a couple of, I would say there's a couple of small clubs that offer these either sex parties or the sex positive parties, such as Privatclub, Altes Finanzamt. I just thought about one, but like I guess Quellgeist and all there is places that have like, but as you say, like they're kind of like defined as like it's only FLT, so like women, trans only, or queer friendly, whatever. But to be honest, yeah, I think it's a very good point that you're making, because I think there are not that many parties that have explicitly a dark room that is open for every gender.
This is a great business plan, guys. Erstis will be sponsoring a dark room opening for everyone next month.
Because I don't know if you heard about it. There is also like the contrary, the kind of like, I mean, right now I have this impression, but I'm not the only one, that there is this conservative movement like coming up.
Totally.
So there is a comeback from. So I think you've heard about it. There is a new gay party, like so only for men, like mask for mask and everything. And I thought like we are over it. It's 2018, but yeah. So this, I think there's still like this kind of this is separatism between. So you have the queer movement and you have like the contra-queer movement, like getting stronger too.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that is a subject that we should be talking about. And I think Pornceptual is one example of how that can be not happening, and like how we can, like a party can be open to different sexualities, like what you were saying, gay, hetero, queer, lesbian, whatever, and how you can create a space where everyone's welcome. And I think we should be working towards that. I myself have, as you were saying, I've experienced some bad experiences, especially in the male gay scene, like say, Ficken 3000, of course, and like, entering those spaces and being encountered with very strong negativity, especially very strong sexism against female identified people, which I think is very problematic. So I think it is very important to talk about these topics and make that out loud and be like, okay, let's create more spaces where different gendered identified people are welcome, and where we can all, find a space of consent and of joy together with, respecting each other's boundaries and acknowledging each other's differences. Yeah, thank you everyone so much. Thank you, Chris, so much for being here with us. Thank you, girls. Thank you, audience. I think we've come to the end of the show, and let's have a big applause for everyone. Woo!
By the way, there's a dark room in this party as well.
We made it earlier.
Bring cold water.
Chris and us are going to go over there and make it dark, and let's just invite everyone. We're going to take off our shoes because it hurts. Thank you very much. Follow us. Woo!
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our very special live podcast episode. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you like to listen to your podcasts, and go follow us on Twitter at Erstis Podcast in order to not miss a thing. Thank you and bye. The Erstis Podcast.